Okay, so in chapter 4 of your thesis, this is where you are going to present your results and discussions. All right, so as the term imply, this is where you put your results and then how you analyze your results, which will be in the form of discussions. Right. So as always, for 4.1, it will be the overview, right? The overview of the topic, what this chapter is all about. And for 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, or and until you reach perhaps 4.5, the summary of the chapter, you are going to, this is again entirely up to how you structure your work, right? But a general guide would be, perhaps you can make use of your objectives to be your reference point. Okay, so for instance, 4.2, perhaps you want to show the results for, let's say, objective 1. Okay, and then 4.3 is perhaps your results for objective 2. This is just a suggestion, right? And finally, you can include the discussions as a separate subtopic. Okay, this is first option. The second option would be you can actually merge the discussions, right? The results and discussion for each objective. This is also possible. Okay, so, and of course, this is just a suggestion, all right? But if you feel that for first objective there are too many results, and for objective 2 there are also too many results, you can also, of course, split it up into a few smaller subtopics. Okay, so that is why I say it is entirely up to you. Okay, now when it comes to presentation of the results, right, how we want to display your results presentation or reporting. Okay, you can make use of tables, you can make use of pie charts, graphs. Okay, you can make use of any of it, but make sure that you do not report the same. Okay, do not report the same set of results using more than one format. Okay, meaning to say, if let's say you have already presented your results in the form of a table 1, let's say table 1, all right? So you do not need to present this same set of results using another graph. Okay, if you want to use table to represent your result, just stick to that one table only. Right? If you want to use graph to represent this set of results, just stick to that one graph only. Okay, and you will need to, of course, select the most suitable format of the way that you can present your results, so that when I look at it, I can immediately tell what you are trying to portray. Okay, if you want to demonstrate, if you want to show trends, right, obviously the best would be graphs, right? Graphs or charts, right? If you want to demonstrate in terms of composition, obviously pie chart would be the best. Okay, so there are many ways, right? So for you, the key point here is you do not want to use more than one type of reporting format to report the same set of results. Okay, and the other thing is that if let's say some of these graphs that you want to show, okay, it is to compare with what previous researchers have done, okay, you can actually refer this back to the particular subtopic in chapter 2, which is your literature review, right? Assuming that this graph has already appeared in chapter 2 before, so you do not need to reproduce or repeat this graph in chapter 4. Okay, so that would be on the selection of the most appropriate reporting format. Okay, so once you have put down all your results, okay, you need to obviously you need to analyze, right? You need to analysis of the results, or what we call as the discussion, the discussion part of it. So make sure, right, that you actually discuss or analyze every single table or chart or set of data that you present in this chapter. Okay, make sure you do that. You do not want to just put a table there or a chart, but you didn't do any analysis on it. Okay, if you just put a table or a graph there, okay, without analyzing it, it means that even without this graph, your thesis would still be the same, right? The graph doesn't add any value to your thesis. So why you want to include the graph in the first place, right? Okay, so make sure that you discuss every single table or chart or data or results that you have obtained, whether experimental or simulation, right? So you have to include and then explain. Now, where you need to include the explanation, okay, it is always advisable to discuss immediately after the table or graph or chart or whatever. Okay, you do not want to put your graph or chart in let's say page 1, but your discussion is in page 10. So that would cause a bit of a discomfort, because if I were to read it, I have to flip through page 110, 110, 110. Right? So that is something that is not so good. And this also perhaps is the reason why I favor this model of displaying your results and discussion, because they are side by side. Okay, so make sure that you discuss immediately after the tables. Okay, but immediately before the tables or the charts, you need to introduce first what is that table or figure or chart all about, right? So you need to describe what the figure is all about immediately before you place that figure. So actually this rule is applicable throughout your thesis, actually, from chapter 1 until chapter 4. Okay, so make sure that you stick to this rule as well. Okay, and when you want to start your discussion, make sure that the way you start each paragraph, make sure that it is not repetitive. Okay, what I mean by that is that, let's say first paragraph you start with the blah 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 blah. Second paragraph, again you start with the. Third paragraph, again you start with the. So while this is not to say wrong, right, but this is not a very good practice of writing. Okay, always change the way you word, the way you structure your paragraphs, so that it is more presentable to the readers. Okay, so these are just some of the pointers that I want to highlight for chapter 4, which is on results and discussions. So mainly the key point here is you want to make use of this chapter to show your deliverables, the results that you get for each of the objective. Okay, and you can again you can end it with a summary, just to summarize, recap what has been discussed. Okay, and I will also want to maybe talk about the chapter 5 as well, conclusion and recommendations for future work. So the conclusion, as the term implies, right, 5.1 conclusion, this is really to summarize what are the main findings with respect to each objective. Okay, you just want to summarize. The keyword here is to summarize what are the main findings that you have obtained from this project. Okay, unlike in chapter 4, the previous chapter, where you have to discuss in detail, okay, all of your findings, but in 5.1 you are just going to summarize and highlight the main findings. That's it. Okay, you can explain, right? Objective 1, how was it achieved? Is it achieved? If it is not achieved, okay, if a particular objective is not achieved, you can actually explain it here. Okay, why have you not achieved it? Okay, what have you achieved? Which part of it have you not achieved? Okay, so this is where you include your conclusions. And 5.2, which is the recommendation for future work, is really where, if let's say another researcher would like to take over or would like to continue, right, to work from where you stop, so what would that be? Okay, what would be your suggestions? Okay, what are the next areas to explore for your project? Okay, so you don't need to be too long, right? Probably 1 page would do, right? 1 page, half a page, or 2 pages would do. But really, we want to make sure that your work doesn't stop here. All right, there has to be a continuity. Okay, so that is why what we call this as a research, because we keep on searching. All right, so I think that would be for this video.